Hello guys, good to see you back. This is the another part of this module tutorial. And today in this tutorial, we are going to learn default function. Module came with a default function. So let's see how we can create this function. Also, we are going to see how we can use it. So let's back to the library.js file. First, I'm going to comment out all of this code. And then I'm going to create default function. To create default function, we need to use default keyword. Default function, then parenthesis, then inside the round braces, this default function basically represents the whole file. With that, also I want to export this function. So here I'm going to type export keyword, export, and here I'm going to type something. So I'm going to type console dot log inside the round braces, inside the double quotes, hello, and semicolon to end this line. Now let's back to the main.js file. Also, I'm going to comment out all of this code, and I'm going to duplicate this line and comment out previous one. And to import default function, we need to use the same process. Let me show you how. So I'm going to remove this star sign and as, and inside the curly braces, I'm going to pass the function name, which is default. Also, we need to take alias name as b. That's it. And now we can call this function. So here I'm going to type d and semicolon to end this line. After save this file, as you can see in my browser, it's returned hello. We don't need to take any name for this function. Whenever we call this function, otherwise import this function, we take alias name for this function. Now, at last, I'm going to introduce you another feature of module, which is known as aggregate module. Here we are going to learn how we can use multiple modules in a file. So at first, I'm going to comment out this line. Then I'm going to uncomment this import line. With that, let's back to the library.js file. And from library.js file, first I'm going to comment out this line. I don't need this line for now. And also I'm going to uncomment this export line. I want to export only user function, nothing else. With that, we need to uncomment this user function. That's it. Also, I'm not going to pass any argument. So I remove these arguments. And here I'm going to type simply a text. Hello world. And I'm going to save this file. So in this library function, we have only one function named user. And if you notice, you can see we have another file, mediator.js. So let's jump into this file. This file is going to play the role of a bridge between these two files, main.js and library.js. And for your better understand, I'm going to move this file between this library and main.js. In our library.js file, here we export user function. And here I use the main.js file. And in our HTML file, we include the main.js file. But in main.js file, here I'm going to change the import file path. This time, so I'm going to duplicate this line and comment out previous one. This time I want to import mediator.js. So here I'm going to type mediator.js file. And I want to import the particular user function. So here I'm going to remove the alias name and star sign. And inside the curly braces, I'm going to type user. Now the question is, we do not create user function in mediator.js file. So in the mediator.js file, I'm going to import the function from library.js file. So I'm going to type import inside the curly braces our function name user from library.js file, library.js, and I'm going to set this file. So in our mediator file, we import the user function from library.js. Then in our main.js file, we import the user function from mediator.js file. But if I save these files, it's going to return an error, something like that. It is a syntax error. Here it print mediator.js does not provide an export named user. To resolve this problem, if we want to use any bridge file, for that, here we need to use export keyword. So I duplicate this line and comment out previous one and here we need to type export. Now, if I save this file, now you can see there is no error in my console. So in our main.js file, if I call user function and remove the argument, because this time I do not handle any argument in our user function, and save this file, you can see the result. Now it's print hello world. So at first we export from library to mediator. Then from the mediator we export main.js file. So this is it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial we are going to learn about promises. So thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for the next tutorial.